getting on. Sat by the fireside, pondering on. Picture book, pictures of your mama, taken by your papa a long time ago. Picture book of people with each other to prove they love each other a long time ago. Picture book, picture book.
Love that video in the bottom third. I could watch Jimi Hendrix here at Gulfstream Park in the late 60s forever as we get tied on and settled in. It's a Wednesday afternoon here, the start of July. That's right, July 1st, 2020. Noticed in the lower right-hand corner, right into the bank of that clubhouse turn, there were some late morning preparations being done to the turf course here, that massive double-wide turf course we have at Gulfstream Park. And for good reason, the first race at about 12:05 Eastern, in about 60 minutes time, I guess you could say 59 minutes, will be run over the turf course as, again, we settle in and welcome aboard everybody. It is a Wednesday live edition. Gulfstream Park today, Jason Blewett joining you as we venture in to the second half of 2020. It's good to have your company for sure. And before we go any further, we'll bring in our good friend, Ron Nicoletti, downstairs. Ronnie, what's going on this sunny and fast and firm Wednesday?
Fast and firm Wednesday, of course, we ended the fiscal year with the mandatory payouts in all the different Rainbow Six and late pick 5. So everything's starting anew this afternoon.
Absolutely. Now, we do have the 10 races on the program, my friend, but I thought it'd be worthwhile to take a quick step back and just recap more or less the winning payoff in yesterday's mandatory cash out in the June 30th Rainbow Six. 6,500 and change in a sequence, Ronnie, that basically had three odds-on winning favorites, one co-favorite in Hero Tiger. What you needed for over 6 Gs were races 6 and 7.
Yeah, Miss Mac was, I believe, $60 and allegedly perfect 38. But I could make a case for allegedly
Me too.
perfect. I
Yep.
wouldn't have had Miss Mac.
No, Miss Mac, I would have had to buy the race. And
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but it wouldn't surprise me if quite a few people that played this thing with serious money just bought that sixth race yesterday, because that looked like, out of all the races, that might be the chaos race in the sequence, and it turned out to come to fruition there. Now, we see the pool this afternoon with the jackpot Rainbow Six that begins midway through the card in race number 5. We do have that $100,000 guaranteed threshold, my friend. Not bad to start the new month, Ronnie, taking that thing down for a cool 100 Gs.
Yeah, you can get it for 20 cents. And I can't tell you how many times over the years that when the Rainbow Six is a hit or mandatory payout, the next day somebody comes back and gets it again, and that can be you this afternoon.
Definitely. 12:05 the start time, and we'll kick off the card on the turf course this afternoon, my friend, on this fast and firm Wednesday. Now, this early pick 5 sees me putting in a play that was very much built around the 2 Wesley Ward turf horses in the second race, and then further down the line in race number 4, I am standing alone and willing to give the number 2 Fuddled for Safi, who just ran too bad to be true last time out just 19 days ago. With her on a less than 3-week turnaround, I have a very good feeling we are going to see something in step with that very strong debut out of Fuddled, and I think she's a likely winner as a pretty clear favorite in that 4th race, and going to try to leverage her in a $16 play that sees me, Ronnie, basically in a first race on the turf that conflates to 2 different running styles. You've got the speed of the 5 Hero Up and the argument and the case that horse is in good form with speed to burn for Sammy Camacho. And then in the other camp is the 11 Bahamian Park, who's going to come way down off that early price 7-1, who I go into this thinking and arguing this colt by Bahamian Squall he doesn't have the speed of your horse, but he's got the strongest last out effort.
Yeah, he's good. You know, he's getting a break from post 10 today because we did have a scratch of the 2 horse in the race, and he breaks from post 10. He rallied strongly last time to finish second at this level of distance. He's going to pick up the pieces if Hero Up, the top horse I have on top, does not handle the distance. Who's turning back to the mile after setting the pace, finished second. He was only beaten that length going a mile into 16. His speed, I really think, must be respected on this course that's just been favoring this type of runner. I mean, I think you have the logical 2 here with Hero up. If he doesn't get it, I think Bohemian Park closes and gets it.
And the other horse that's taking some money an hour out, give or take, from race number 1 is the number 3 Barbie's King, who just ran fine last time, exiting that same Smell of Roses Bohemian Park race from back on June the 12th for Mr. Prado and Eddie Broom. Second race, an all-turf double, in fact, as we get tied on with a cast of 2-year-old fillies in this maiden special weight. And as you work your way through, there's quite a bit of guesswork to be had. Basically, all these horses are trying the turf for the first time and or debuting in a race for the first time. What you have, though, clearly to lean and pivot off of, the Wesley Ward-trained horses. You've got an Uncle Mo filly in Uuni, who was named, in fact, I was looking it up, after a salt flat, pretty like wonder of the world type salt flat in Bolivia. I was watching some videos about Uuni on the other side of the planet, and it was pretty cool. And then you've got the number 9 Gem Thief, and why don't we take a look at this filly by Shanghai Bobby and her last out turf breeze back on the morning of June 25th at Palm Meadows. She is working in company alongside her French-bred stablemate, also donned in those Wesley Ward black blinkers in Pixel, and this was just a smart move for this daughter of Shanghai Bobby, who seemed to be getting the better of her stablemate as they got closer to the finish line. In fact, you can see Gem Thief, under very little urging whatsoever, start to pull away and draw away as the work essentially ended there, and they'll gallop into that wide sweeping first turn on that lush Palm Meadows turf course. The 9 Gem Thief with Mario riding, probably the horse to beat.
Well, let's show you stat with Wesley Ward. I picked a couple of stats in here. One with a first-time start and one with not. This is the one with the Gem Thief. Just a really good stat with 2-year-olds going turf to dirt at Gulfstream in the past 5 years. 7 for 18, 39%, 67% in the money, 283 is the return investment. So remember that. Now that's horses that have run in the dirt and then go to the turf course this afternoon. Gem Thief, for that reason, I put on top of my ticket.
Now what's the stat with Uuni?
Now, I'll show you that stat here. This is with first-time starters. This one win average, 23 of 102, 23%. In the money, only 50% at a time. 173 is the return investment. That's 2-year-old first-time starters. Maiden special weight on the turf at Gulfstream. Just thought it was interesting to see those two. Looks like the ones that have run on the dirt come back and run a little bit better than the first-time starters. I don't know if it means anything, but I wanted to show them.
Yeah, well, 102 starters in that sample size,
Yeah.
2-year-old firsters.
Yeah.
Wow, over 5 years, he's had 102 first-time starters in 2-year-old races.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
Yep.
Wow, that is a big sample size there. Okay, so look, again, getting back to these two horses, the fact that Mario Pino, who's been basically the first call rider for Wesley Ward, wound up on the number 9 Gem Thief, probably the telegraph that horse may be further along. But I like the pedigree with the 6 Uuni, who's out of a dam, who won 3 on the turf, 3 on the synth. And there's a couple of European siblings that won on the grass overseas. Let's move on to the third. We're on the dirt. In fact, our main track opener will go 7 furlongs. And this older filly and mare, $14,000 to $12,000 claimer. And a cast of 6. And I struggled. If I'm being candid, Ronnie, I struggle with this race. And I guess I wasn't all that surprised, but I was also relieved in a way when I looked at Pete's morning line. He's basically got this field from 5 to 2 out to 6 to 1, which in my mind says, when I looked at it, I could have made a case here, a case for, or maybe a case against all 6 of these horses.
Yeah, just a wide open affair, but we did both end up on the number 4, She Takes Heart, who turns back to 7 furlongs with that great equalizer on her side. She's got speed. She's a previous winner at this 7 furlong distance, which I like. And you have Leonel Reyes in the irons this afternoon. Worth Avenue in second, who's just looking for the right surface and distance. They keep trying everything with this horse. Has run okay on the dirt a couple of times. And the horse you have in second, Numes Treasure, who's debuting for locally for Mary Epler.
Horse that is coming in off a layoff. I respect Mary. Well posted here. Belterra races looked all right for her. In the case of the 4, She Takes Heart, she's a bit of an outlier and kind of an aberration. I mean, how often, Ronnie, do you see a 7-year-old mare like her running against some of those hard-hitting males, which she has in her last couple of starts. That is not a routine, very common move here, and I do like, again, the notion of just dropping her back in with her own kind. After those are some hard-hitting, gritty old pros as far as the older male division is concerned. Candy Crush'em and Trapezoid, all those horses came back and ran in a very strong field here, in fact, in Sunday's nightcap.
Yeah, but a little wide opener. So if you like those two horses like you did when you're putting your early pick 5 ticket together, you go 3 or 4 deep in this race.
Now, the 4th race is a spot in which Fuddled, I think many of us are expecting her to get, and you're part of the family there, Ronnie, as far as taking a clear favorite in this one and looking for this filly by Invincible Spirit to get back on track this afternoon. I get the relevance of the race we're about to show you might be up for debate, but I still wanted to pull it because I do think the point I'm trying to make is there is ability there. And what caught my eye going back to late March when this Irish bred debuted for E5 and Saffie was the fact she ran like an older horse and a seasoned pro who had done this thing 30 times in the past. She won't win, but she rated so comfortably inside, angled out when the rider, Joel Rosario, asked her with that smooth 4-wide angle off the far turn, and she'll lose a tough one here to First Wave, who, as you can see, was a big even money favorite. The fact that she came back and just did not fire from a wide post last time out, a mere 19 days ago, that to me, I'm going to speculate that there may have been perhaps in the race or maybe leading up to it, maybe a minor issue where she was okay to run, but for whatever reason either needed the race or just didn't bring her best, and that there's no layoff today. I'm thinking it's go time this afternoon again with that quick turnaround for Saffie.
It could have been as simple as just that wide post and not getting the right trip last time out. I just think that one's the one to beat. Fuddle's the one to beat. Now, I use Pertinent in second, who's the daughter of Speightstown, out of the Warfront, a damn relevant debut for Eddie Plisa, Lasix. Steady work tab showing over the track. Christian Torres, sort of guesswork after the 2, and then used the 5 horse in second, who I had on my ticket too.
No, Pertinent is eligible to come out firing. Got a very, very nice pedigree, and I was looking, although she's the first full out of that Warfront dam and relevant, the dam herself went 1 for 5 on synthetic, yet as you work your way back, it is a very salty and very quality-filled Claiborne family on the female lineage of the 7 Pertinent. I'll be curious to see what that horse does first time out for Eddie Plisa. And then we've got trainer Ken Sweezy, who seems to have built up quite the operation in terms of just sheer numbers between Tampa and here in South Florida at Gulfstream Park in Palm Meadows, where he's based. And he's got this daughter of Uncle Mo off a trainer change for Christophe Clement because, well, she's a Florida bred, and Christophe no longer has horses down here. So I do like the idea of just sending her to a trainer who's based in South Florida during the summertime. And although Avuncular did not run all that well in her turf debut, maybe she ran slightly better than that race looks on paper, and we'll pick up this April 5th race where things went well up until the point she just seemed to get herself in a spot where she wasn't entirely comfortable. She's in the orange cap and white sleeves and the green of Waterville Lake Stables, and you can tell that 9 horse is essentially leaning on her, and she is steadying somewhat mildly, but doing so repeatedly for about a 16th of a mile. She finally settled. She never really kicked it into high gear after that, but I still think, even though Fuddle might be the benchmark, I do think Ronnie Avuncular, off that effort, runs the best race she has thus far this afternoon.
Absolutely, and she's the $250,000 daughter of Uncle Mo, as you mentioned, and she ran okay third in it while she was in Christophe's barn. I think she's got a big shot in there. If Fuddle doesn't fire for any other reason, she might be the one to beat. I'm guessing a little bit with the first-time starter with the number 7 Pertinent.
$100K guaranteed in the jackpot rainbow. We'll take a quick time out, and on the other side of the break, we've got Ronnie's ticket, so stay with us. 11:20 in the morning here, shot from the clubhouse turn, or in fact, a far turn right around the half-mile pole with that lengthy backstretch run in full view. I mean, we are taking a straight shot down south, essentially, right down to Miami with those real trophy South Florida high-rises. In 2020, it is July 1st, a new month, and we're ready to roll here on a fast and firm sunny afternoon, a 10-race Wednesday. Jason and Ronnie from our respective studios, and we had the mandatory yesterday, Ronnie. Once again, want to thank everybody who supported us throughout the entire year, but even yesterday with about 4 million, give or take, in the Rainbow Six pool. We begin anew. We've also got 100K. That seems to be a popular guarantee over the next, say, 72 hours. We've got another round of the Stronach 5 coming up on Friday, July 3rd.
Yeah, we got the 3 from Laurel, 2 right here at Gulfstream Park, races 9 and 10 from Gulfstream. And if you're handicapping, you really got to have your handicap hats on. Those are 2 tough races from Gulfstream Park, but I saw a ticket that Stan singled the horse in race 9, the last leg at Laurel Park. So check that ticket out, and you'll see if you agree with it.
And I like that. 60 minutes, boom, 350 to 452, give or take. 5 races, jam-packed, and like that nonstop action in that July 3rd Stronach 5 with the guarantee. And that brings us actually to an interesting point, for lack of a better term. Saturday's obviously Independence Day. We've got a 12-race card drawn for Gulfstream yesterday. 2 stakes on the program in the Carryback and the Azalea. Who both those races came up pretty solid. You're not getting a Lost in the Fog or a 3 Rules or something like that, but they're both good races in their own right.
Yeah, and they're part of this Rainbow Six sequence. One is race 9, one is race number 11. So always good to have stakes races when you're dealing with the Rainbow Six, or just to bet them. So we'll see how those 3-year-olds run.
Now, what are you doing in today's Jackpot Rainbow?
I got a $28.80 ticket, and I did go 3 deep in here with Nimble Beast, Sandy's Blaze, and the inside horse Semper Fi, who I like a little bit in there. 2 deep, race number 6, only a 5-horse field, but what a competitive race. I went with Over Deliver and Squeeze Adios in there. Then I went 3 deep in race number 7. Bunch of scratches in there, so I went with Amelia Madeline, Napa Rules, and Cozy Dreams. Then 2 deep the rest of the way. In race number 8, I went with Trilby, who's going to be a bit of a price in there, and Hop on the Bus, Gus. That is, and in race 9, Grand Cascade, I think it is, and Maserati Man, who's the morning line favorite. And then 2 in the last with Vincitore and Spinning Kitten. So very affordable, $28.80 for me. Just got to get it to come home.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, 157, you've got the 3 logical horses. In fact, I really think the central figure starting out this Wednesday Rainbow Six happens to be the Antonio Sano number 7, Sandy's Blaze. You didn't pick him, but I still think he is just simply the horse to beat. And as far as a dialogue goes, you start with him just because he's run well enough in all 4 career starts, mainly 3 of his 4 starts, and you might just say, okay, you had a horse who was laid up for about 8.5 months following that only start as a 2-year-old, so it hasn't been entirely smooth sailing. And now with that being laid on the table, he's in for maiden 25, which to me seems like a good move to make. Not aggressive, just realistic as this horse drops down.
Drops today, and they're going to add blinkers this afternoon. He made that middle moves. He middle moves twice and faded to finish 4th against 50,000's maidens last out, and special weight runners 2 starts back. So as you mentioned, 25 looks like the right level. I did go with the 5 Nimble Beast. I found this intriguing. Going to try 6.5 furlongs today. Finished 3rd when trying a mile in its last start, and 2nd when competing at 7 furlongs, 2 starts back. It's Kathleen O'Connell. Couldn't do it at a mile, couldn't do it at 7. Let's cut it right in the middle and go 6.5. Miguel Vasquez in the saddle today. Sandy's Blaze, and then I like the inside horse, Semper Fi. After some scratches in that race, is stretching out. He's a $240,000 son of Carpe Diem. He was with Todd in New York, now here with Jeff Engler.
Yes, had cost a lot, was probably sold for far less than that $240K, purchased privately and sent over to Jeff Engler. Ran fine for the barn off that private purchase and trainer change. Probably a tougher race in terms of the field, but he's still a contender in that 5th race. Now we move on to the 6th. We are up in class, and this is a spot in which Safi holds a pretty strong hand, mainly because of the presence of Over Deliver, who I think is going to be a runaway favorite in this spot. Squeeze Adios, though, is in with the chance. He's going to be, I think, somewhat of a distant, but a clear-cut second choice, and it does look like, on paper anyway, regarding their dirt ability, they look head and shoulders better than anything else in the 6th race. I almost singled over Deliver, but opted obviously to just use Squeeze Adios as a backup. 3 deep for me in races 7 and 8, and once again coming up on my single in race number 9 in Maserati Man, who's just been so good of late for Mike Yates. Have no issue with him as far as the spot, his post, or anything like that, and I'm going to just play this, try to leverage him in the 9th race this afternoon, which will go as our last over the main track. Looking at the 6th race field, Over Deliver has just been really good, and although I may have questioned his ability at the level last time out to stay a mile and beat the field that he did, because keep in mind, as we backtrack to his last start on the afternoon of May 2nd, this was still a period of time when Gulfstream Park at this point in the spring meet, at this juncture, this was really sort of a winter meet 2.0. You still had some major barns between the Northeast and Kentucky, and this was like a wintertime allowance field. Yet it didn't matter to Over Deliver, who, as Arad Ortiz angles him out and starts to go lefty, this gelding by Overanalyze will eventually kick clear in a race that came up fast, and he's just, again, Ronnie, when you just bust out the measuring stick, I think he's just, as a whole, he's run a bit better than anybody else in here, although, to be fair, Squeeze Adios does come out of some very salty spots, getting away today of the likes of Scars Are Cool and even Sniper Shot, who beat him last time out.
Yeah, he's a hard-knocking 4-year-old. Always gives a top-notch performance, and I think he should offer more on the fast track after finishing 3rd. That was his first ever race on an off-track last time out. So I'm willing to put a line through that. Didn't run that well on the off-track, so Squeeze Audio is coming back, Over Deliver. 2 for 4 since winning 2 for 4 races since that claim by Safi Joseph, 2 for 3 at the mile. So certainly a logical contender. And we both use Glory of Florida, who's changing barns, going to the Mike Maker barn this afternoon.
And look, Safi's right back in the mix this afternoon as we turn the page off a solid, compact but solid field nonetheless in the 6th. And talk about Wednesday 7th as we go with the cast of 6 in this 3-year-old filly, 12-5 to 10-5 claimer on this July 1st card. And this race, actually, there were a few key scratches. Maybe not a ton in terms of just abundance and number or by number, but there was some impactful early scratches today. I think I lost 3 top picks, including the number 8 out of this one in One Hot Drama. With her out, I scratch into the 7, Amelia Madeline, and I'm fine with that, although it's Calabrese and Safi, and I get this is a routine move. The big drop, basically claim price cut in half off a very poor performance is what scares me. But again, maybe it takes the sting out of that, so to speak, because it is Calabrese, and this is what he does.
Yeah, I scratched into it, too. I had the 8 on top. I was torn to even put this one in second, Amelia Madeline. I did end up putting it in second, so bumped it up. I used Napa Rules in second, who proved she could compete, get this level when she followed that 3 lifetime victory with I thought she ran a well-meant second at this level and distance. She just needs to break sharply, and I think she's a major player there. And Cozy Dreams, I added, who you have in second. Amador Sanchez looks like his first off the claims have been running exceptionally well. Yeah. And this one was sort of, the race was highlighted when Uncaptured Ruby came back to win its next start.
And new claims there's a bevy of them. There are quite a few and important ones in the last few races today as, again, we shift gears to an extent and head back to the turf. We're out in field size here. We'll go with 10. So pretty difficult older filly mare, 12-5 to 10-5 claimer. Different race entirely from the 7th, but the parallels are many when you compare Amelia's Madeline, who we just talked about, to the number 6 Hop on the Bus Gus, who in the end, Ronnie, if I'm being honest, kind of just threw up my hands and said, she hasn't raced since basically right around Fountain of Youth week, and we have not seen her since she was claimed. This was not a service claim. This was a Mike Dubb and Mike Maker claim. She's been laid up since, returns this afternoon for Maker, dropping not a ton. It's kind of a modest dip down in class, but combined with the layoff, I just didn't know what to do. But in the end, I let the first-time Maker, even though there are some red flags there, the first-time Maker won me over in what is this is a very hard race. Is your long shot here?
No, I lost my top selection with Picasso Moon and my second choice in here with the 9, Paint the Corner. So I went with the 3 Trilby, when I was looking at the race, this one changing barns, going to the Ruben Cressida barn. He's really good first off the claim with a very limited sampling and takes the blinkers off. Sort of ran kind of clunker with the shades on for the previous connections, but she's a 4-time winner on the local turf. She's 2 for 3 at the distance. Nobody scares me in here. Hop on the bus, Gus. I went to the inside with Spicy Nelly, who may have some speed in there. We showed speed in the past. I think Trilby's in a good spot this afternoon for Bond. It seems to do good with first off the claim. And like you said, with the 2 scratches in there, major scratches, Trilby to me became interesting.
Yeah, this is a very difficult race, and ultimately it's kind of unsatisfying and maybe a little obvious. Seems like you're going to have to get a good trip in this race. There's one thing, I'm flying through the running lines now. There's not a lot of speed, my friend.
No.
And I'm wondering if the 8 Bahama Kitten, does maybe she move up a little bit? I don't have her, nor do you, in our top 4. It's a very difficult race where the better horses are all more or less plotting first gear, lay back, and close from far back tights. We'll see what happens there on the turf in the 8th. Final dirt race is coming up in the 9th, and this is a race that has just a white-hot horse in the form of Maserati Man, who, as we go back to his last start, kind of just a window dressing replay. Got a good ride, had a good trip, and reported home at 6-5. The more I looked at his recent form for Mike Yates, who's clearly got this horse in a good groove and in a good place, I had a hard time, Ronnie, reinventing the wheel, and I like Maserati Man, even though at some point he's probably going to have to go and get the number 3, Grand Cacique, who does look loose on paper here. Who do you like in this upcoming 9th race?
I did go with Grand Cacique, who's dropping a notch after returning from the layoff, set the pace and finished third behind the next out winner called Like You, and in front of a next out winner called Plato. I got a stat with Victor Barboza Jr. Second start after the layoff sprints in claiming races. He's 18 for 64, 28%, 69% in the money. 170 is the return of investment. I mean, when you saw my Rainbow Six, there's no way I'm leaving Maserati Man off my ticket, but I just thought with the second off the bench for a barn that does well and coming out of a good race, maybe this one can give Maserati Man a tussle. And I'd use the 4 who use in second, third, and that's Gemmo, who's dropping to this level. 4, Rowan Crichton, Edgar Zayas, just riding in great form. That was my third pick in the race.
Number of sharp horses today are getting some form of class relief on the card, and that is basically, I think, a brief synopsis as to what awaits us in race number 10 as we cap the opening race day and opening card in the month of July with the presence of Louis Roussel's Vincitore in the last, who ran fine considering he didn't get all that much pace, and Sovereign Warrior wired the field in a way tougher 32 Lifetime. That horse is without a doubt the central nucleus of this field as he dips down in for 12-5. For a barn that actually has good numbers, 8 for 33 over the last 5 years with 50% drops in class.
Yeah, and this gelding has tactical speed, and he signaled his intentions. He has that bullet half-mile drill over the track, and I just thought off that performance with the drop, coming in from the fairground, got a race over the course. I think Vincitore's the one to beat in there, and I just, like I said, I used Spinning Kitten in second. Those were the 2 I used on my Rainbow Six ticket.
Now, maybe with Vincitore also, the weather's been good, and maybe they're behind the scenes. If you train a turf horse at a claimer, you go, okay, I'll take what I can get. Maybe I don't want to run the horse that low for 12-5, maybe 15 or 16 in a perfect world, but the weather's good, the race is here. Let me not, tempt fate with Mother Nature.
Yeah, tough to get in these races if you don't run because there are always full fields on the turf.
Definitely. The 9 Jeeker Joe is up off a somewhat belated maiden victory. I thought he was properly spotted against winners. And again, drop just seemed a little steep. Vincitore is the horse to beat, hands down, but wanted to go in a slightly different direction, at least as far as the win is concerned, as Ronnie and I will join all of you about 10 minutes before race number 1. We'll take a little time out, send it up to Pete Aiello for those Wednesday scratches and changes.